So I'm over the illness that began 11 days ago when I met a lot of you, and I don't think I poisoned any of you. Forgive me if I have. Green Party members of Connecticut, I'm Mark Stewart. Happy to be addressing you and your colleagues and anyone who might be in the future sympathetic to Green Party principles. In the last video, I gave over all the ostensible ones where I coincide with Green Party principles. Let me give a few more. Women's rights, better education, help for single moms, help for the poor, reducing incarceration. I'm an advocate for all five. Let me start with the last one. Reducing incarceration is done dramatically by ending the war on drugs, especially on pot, which is a harmless drug to adults who willingly want to buy, sell, imbibe if they want. So what? It doesn't hurt us. And the war hurts many people. It hurts people who become criminals just because of your dumb legislation. It convicts people who are just looking for a little extra income. It stigmatizes people once they get out of jail, and it makes people in neighborhoods where there's a lot of dealing less safe. Dealers have to worry about thugs. They have to protect themselves, and people get caught in the crossfire. This can be ended. And with it, the disparity in minorities who are incarcerated versus Anglos and whites, that reduces itself dramatically when you end the war on drugs. Fight real crime. People who are giving and taking willingly, no deception, not hurting anybody else, that is not real crime. Now, one real crime, especially that affects women, I would fight harder, and that is trafficking of minors. Okay? My way is using government fiercely. The pimps who are trafficking teenage girls ruin their lives forever. I would be seeking the death penalty to be put on the books. It is almost as heinous as murder. And it affects many people at a time because so many kids have to be in fear of going out and being attracted. So many moms have to worry about their daughters never coming home again. This is a mass crime, and it deserves the highest retribution. Retribution and deterrence. If it's on the books as a death penalty, it is unlikely to happen. I don't want it in my state. This is my best way to get it out. If it happens to occur anyway and we catch you, you're going to die. So at least we don't have you doing this to girls anymore. All right, I talked about help for single moms. Single moms are helped greatly by little policies that don't need government. I am an employer that encourages telecommuting. It's a good thing for parents who might not be able to afford a vehicle and often can't afford the time to go and dress up from one place to another. One or two, or maybe you're holding 3 jobs, but when one of them is with a telecommuting sensitive employer, it really helps your lifestyle. Another, legal aid for single moms who can't afford a lawyer and would like to be pressing for better conditions. Okay? Now, a lot of that legal aid will say, don't go to the courts because they'll slow you down. And the best kind of legal aid is economic aid. Get yourself to a better employer. Get a better circumstance in the employment that you have now. Don't go to court because court should be the last straw. Contrast with that with a traditional feminist. The traditional feminists, well, we're going to use the government to fight. But in the process, the government doesn't fight that effectively. It strings out women who are litigators at that point, and it keeps many of them from getting a job ever after. You don't think sophisticated employers are looking at your history of litigation and worried that it'll happen again. And folks, you can't police against that, okay? They'll find some other way not to hire you in the first place. Work things out privately. The 95% of women and sympathetic men who want to elevate women in the workplace and in their lives, use us before you resort to government. I talk about better education. My way is the privatizing way. This elevates everyone except for recalcitrant, stodgy administrators, okay? They don't want to rock that boat because it's a very nice one when you're getting paid over $150,000 a year, working 9 months and not working all that hard. Same number of clients year after year, they're your students. If you don't treat them as clients, it doesn't really matter, they're obligated to come back. That ends when you have choice in school and the kind of voucher system that my First 500 plan would do. It makes schools better. Educators, we have very good ones in the state. It allows them to educate better with fewer restrictions. And if they really are bottled up still, they can more easily move to another district or to a private school. I want to make all of Connecticut schools act like private schools. And we can do that without spending any state money. In the process, it eviscerates education cost sharing. It's a formula that hasn't been funded. It gets tweaked all the time. There are waivers. It causes contention. That's over. Replace it with state-funded vouchers across the state. Go anywhere. You will get better served. Finally, helping the poor. I'm not convinced that government is the best way to help the poor. Platitudes don't equal job opportunities. And we've had a lot of stifled programs that would be better run private. Where does the money come from? The same money that is now going through state funnels and unfortunately being siphoned off at times by administrators and inefficiencies. That same good-heartedness comes back in the form of private money to do good and do it better. Don't look to government as your first step. Look to it as a backstop. Try it. You have nothing to lose because right now, has poverty really gone away in the 50 years that we've been supposedly fighting it? No. Mark Stewart. One more piece about the Greens. That's next.